I got fired from my high school job by a creep who thought he could get away with everything. But what he didn't know was that I wasn't just going quietly. Within 2 weeks, he'd lose his job, his reputation, and even his car tires, all because he messed with the wrong kid. If you've ever had a boss who abused their power or seen justice served when no one expected it, hit that subscribe button right now. This is a story where karma came wrapped in burritos and served cold. Let's dive in. Many years ago, back when I was still in high school, I worked at a place we'll just call Mexican Subway. You get the idea. It was one of those fast casual burrito spots where the smell of grilled chicken clings to your clothes and the rush hour never really ends. I actually liked the job. The pay was decent for a teenager, and the best part? I worked with friends, people I'd known since grade school. We made jokes, snuck nachos, and tried not to burn our hands on the tortilla press. But then, there was Judd. He was our kitchen manager, 27 years old, loud, arrogant, and the kind of guy who thought yelling in your face made him a leader. He'd rev his obnoxious car in the parking lot like a teenager and brag constantly about having 2 girlfriends, one barely 18 and the other 35. Everyone hated him, but most of us just kept our heads down. After all, he was the manager. Then one night after a shift, I overheard 2 of my co-workers, both girls, talking in the parking lot. At first, I thought it was just the usual work gossip, but as I listened, the words started turning my stomach. They were talking about Judd, about how he'd cornered one of them in the walk-in fridge, how he'd turned off the lights, how he'd leaned in close, blocking the door, whispering disgusting suggestions. And worse, this wasn't the first time. He'd been groping, rubbing against them, asking invasive questions. A predator hiding behind a name tag and a fake smile. I felt my heart pounding. I'd known Judd was a jerk, but not this. Not a monster. I didn't know what to say. I was just frozen. These were my friends, people I cared about, and I realized right then, if nobody stopped him, he'd keep doing it. Now I'm not exactly built like an action hero. I was the chubby, quiet kid, the one people underestimated. But what Judd didn't know was that I'd been training martial arts for years, a weird hybrid class a buddy of mine ran. Part jiu-jitsu, part something he called Hawaiian bone crushing. Yeah, I still don't know if that's a real thing, but it worked. And that meant I wasn't just gonna stand there while this creep kept preying on my friends. A few days later, I was restocking the drink machine when I saw it, one of my friends heading into the fridge, and right behind her, Judd. The look on his face made my blood run cold. I didn't even think. I dropped the cups in my hands and stormed straight in. The lights were still on this time. My friend was backed up against the wall, uncomfortable, trapped between the shelves and Judd's towering frame. "Hey," I said sharply. She looked at me, eyes wide, and I told her to go. "Go finish up. I got this." The second she left, it was just me and him. The hum of the fridge filled the silence, cold air biting at my face. Judd smirked. "You got something to say, kid?" I stepped right up to him, eye to eye. "If I ever hear you say anything disgusting to one of those girls again," I said quietly, "I will beat the living hell out of you." His smirk faltered. He tried to talk, to explain, but I cut him off. "Do you understand me, Judd? I hear anything, and I'll make sure you're hurt, then arrested. Trust me." And with that, I turned and walked out, flicking off the light as I left him standing in the dark. That was the first time anyone had ever stood up to him, and for a moment I thought it worked. But people like Judd, they don't change, they just plot. The next week, things started to feel off. I showed up for my 1 p.m. shift, only to find out the schedule had been changed. I was supposed to open that morning. Weird, but maybe an honest mistake. Then it happened again, and again. 3 times in 1 week I showed up late to shifts that had been quietly switched the night before. Each time Judd had some smug excuse. "Didn't you check the board?" even though I knew he'd changed it after hours. And the final time, he made sure a regional manager was there while our general manager was out of town. Perfect timing. I was fired on the spot for repeated tardiness. I tried to explain, but it didn't matter. Judd stood in the corner, arms crossed, pretending not to smirk. I walked out of that restaurant shaking, not from sadness, but from rage. The kind that starts in your chest and builds until your hands can't stop trembling. He'd taken my job, but worse, he'd gotten away with it. At least that's what he thought. The revenge begins. See, this was the mid-2000s, and that meant online ordering was brand new, barely tested, no verification, no safeguards, no card prepayment. Just click, type a fake name, and your order went straight to the store. And I knew that system inside out. I knew their peak hours. I knew which ingredients ran out fastest, the ones that took the longest to restock. I knew exactly how to ruin a rush. So every day that week, I'd go to their website, usually from my grandma's old computer, and make massive, complicated orders. Names like John Smith or Anonymous. Hundreds of dollars in burritos, tacos, and bowls, all packed with extra sour cream, double guac, and triple meat. The kind of orders that took forever to roll, messy and slippery, the kind no employee wanted to touch. I'd set every pickup time for the busiest hours, lunch rush, dinner rush, right when Judd was working. 5-minute pickup windows, unpaid orders, pure chaos. I'd sit at home, sipping a soda, imagining the line of angry customers and the panic on his face as dozens of fake tickets piled up. He couldn't cancel them fast enough. The kitchen would scramble, wasting ingredients, slowing everything down. Thousands of dollars in food thrown away. Customers leaving bad reviews, wait times exploding. I didn't feel bad, not one bit. That place, his little kingdom, was burning, and I was the match. By the end of the week, I'd sent over $1,500 worth of fake orders, maybe closer to $2,000. And right about then, the store's chaos reached corporate's ears. When I heard from an old coworker later, she couldn't stop laughing. Apparently, Judd was in deep trouble. The regional manager came back furious because in 2 weeks, the store's numbers had tanked. Food waste skyrocketed. Wait times were double the limit. Complaints poured in. And guess who was in charge of those shifts? Judd, the great manager. He was fired 2 weeks after me. No warnings, no second chances, just gone. And suddenly, the air in that restaurant got a lot lighter. I never told my friend what really happened in the fridge, or what I did afterward. Some things didn't need to be said. I didn't want her to feel guilty or scared or think any of it was her fault. I just wanted her, and everyone else, to be safe. And let's just say, karma wasn't quite done with Judd yet. One night, my cousin, who ran a tire shop, may or may not have helped remove Judd's valve stems from his car wheels. Funny thing about that, it's hard to drive to your 2 girlfriends when your tires can't hold air. I don't know what happened to him after that. I didn't care. For the first time since losing my job, I actually slept well. Because I knew I'd done something. I'd stopped a predator. And in my own way, I'd gotten justice. Looking back, I know my revenge wasn't exactly clean. It wasn't legal, but it was just. Sometimes, the system fails good people. Sometimes, doing what's right means standing up, even when it costs you. And in that greasy little burrito shop, surrounded by clanging pans and fluorescent lights, I learned something. You can take my job, you can mess with my schedule, but you can't walk all over the people I care about, not without paying for it. So what do you think? Did Judd get what he deserved, or would you have handled it differently? Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever worked for a boss who thought they could get away with anything, share this story, hit like and subscribe for more real-life tales of karma, justice, and revenge that prove one thing: some lessons are served best cold.